Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Wheels. Today it's a returning guest and someone I have interviewed quite a few times already. Quite simply, she's probably one of my best friends within the cycling community. It's Hannah Beck, so we're in the wheels with her, but we're also doing it slightly differently. We're doing a preview, so this is essential listening if you're going to be watching the World Championships at the weekend. We give you the lowdown on the course, on the different riders and the favourites, as well as talking about Hannah and her season so far and how things have gone for her, and a kind of view from inside the mountain bike Eliminator peloton. So do give it a listen, and I hope you enjoy. Yeah, hi. Sorry. Thank you for joining me as always. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all okay, thank you. All things considered, it's been nice to chat to you as always. As we were discussing just a second ago, you're probably my most frequently interviewed person. Just because you're such a bright ray of sunshine almost.
Oh,
And it's just
thank
great to
you.
chat. So I always enjoy it. Um, shall we talk about how your season has been so far? It's been certainly as a fan of yours, like it's been an up and down season, shall we say? And there's been some, I assume, difficult moments for you. But how's it been from your side?
Yeah, so the winter was really tough for me. I struggled a lot, to be honest, and I didn't really know how to start the season and yeah, what's the right choice? Which race should I start? I was sick the whole winter basically. After World Champs last year, I wanted to do the off season and somehow never found my way back to training. So I started training in the end of February, and of course, with such a short amount of time, it was obvious that the first few World Cups won't be a fantastic result. But we decided to try it anyway and give it a go because in the end, it still adds to the experience. You learn by each race, and yeah, so we decided to do it. Of course, it's a bit frustrating because still you hope for a great result, and if it doesn't turn out like that, I mean, I have to be realistic. I knew it wouldn't be magic, but it still hurts a bit. So it has been a tough start, but I have been doing well lately. So I did step by step. Every race has been a bit better, and I'm really excited. Yeah, to see how I can continue the season because it's just yeah, it's getting better day by day.
Yeah, I think you've been in the most unlucky position quite often where like I want to say Montmartre, the
Yeah,
sort of Paris round, you were 17th, where the top 16 qualifiers. It's heart wrenching almost just to,
yeah,
and like again, as someone who's followed your career, I guess like you don't get to watch qualifying unless you're actually at the venue. Like
yeah,
that part doesn't get streamed, so all you get is like a timing ticker, and you're just watching all the people qualifying and where they get, and you're having to wait for like a minute and go, oh, there they go, like they slot into 11th or whatever. And then I think the worst one was it Palancaraya, where
yeah,
I don't want to bring it up, but I kind of have to. Like,
yeah,
only 11 people did the qualification. I was like, oh, she's in 11th. That's good. Like, there's only 3 more to go. She's great. And then the other ones were like Gaia Tormena, who was listed to be there, but then didn't go and put it quite clearly she wasn't going, but was still on the start sheet. And obviously that counts as a rider entered, but not finished. And if there's fewer than 12 in a women's field, like, or in any field, I guess, but fewer than 12 meant that they couldn't do that round, which meant they cut it to 8 qualifiers instead of the 16. And you missed out, and like had one more person just shown up and just
yeah,
pushed their bike round, like literally a woman off the street with a mountain bike could have just pushed it round, and that would have been enough. And it's like watching that. It's like I imagine that hurts a lot for you.
Yeah. Indonesia was quite heartbreaking, to be honest, because I get so much support from the people there, so I really want to perform well. And also, yeah, I spend my own money on those travels. I have sponsors that support me, but the rest of it I pay from my own savings. I'm a student, so I think it's quite obvious that I'm not crazy wealthy or anything. So traveling so far, not making the qualification, it was truly heartbreaking. I struggled a lot after the race. The evening was really tough for me to digest that one. But yeah, in the end, yeah, I always say to myself, you have to be crazy enough to believe that you can do it. So the next race was much better. And then in Belgium, I was able to step it up again. So yeah, it was quite a relief to then qualify the next few World Cups for sure.
Yeah, we'll go on to them in a second because that was Sakarya or Sakurai. I'm never sure which one to say, and then Löwe. But yeah, like Palancarat, like just in general, the vibes of the place look incredible. Like everyone, there's the kind of after racing is almost. I'll be honest, if I was, a bit fitter and like even able to well, probably if I owned a mountain bike and was able to, do the UCI races and things like that, like I'd go just for the kind of events, the dinners and the parties, because it looks like an incredible time. Like, did you still like party with everyone else? And how was that when, you've had this disappointment of the daytime, but then the evenings is just like pure vibes and just having a good time?
Yeah, so uh, yeah, I love Indonesia. I love it there because it's been the third time. So yeah, I know a lot of the people there. I have some friends now there, and I was really looking forward to see them. So it's always really a nice experience. They do so much for us. And after the race, I needed a few hours to myself to calm down. Yeah, to think about it. I called my parents, and then in the end, I said to myself, well, I'm in Indonesia. It was a bad day, not my best race for sure, but I can now be upset about it for the next few days, or I can just do my best I can in the next training session and yeah, try to focus on the positive side because in the end, every race there's something positive to take away. So I try to focus on that. And yeah, so the next day it was a rest day and we went out with those scooters and explored Indonesia a little bit. So it's also really nice with all of the other riders. They really cheered me up a lot. So yeah, the race wasn't the best, but I had a great time nonetheless.
Yeah, that is something I've always admired about mountain bike eliminator is that camaraderie. Like I remember, was it Europeans last year in Turkey where like you'd it was a group of three of you, I think, and like Didi De Vries was like
Yeah,
super complimentary about you and kind of just put her arm around you after the finish and like said well done essentially because like you'd stepped it up and yeah. Obviously, yeah, you said you raced there again this year. It's become a bit of a mainstay on the World Cup scene, and it's a great event. And then Lerva, you stepped it up as well, and it looked very close. And it's kind of
yeah,
it's wild because this sport is such like it's such fine margins. Because if you qualify at one position different, you're in a different heat with a different rider and different characteristics. And like, I feel like Sakurai, like, I'm trying to think back because I'm doing this based on no notes. So, we're just flying with this. Like Sakurai, your heat was like two former world champions. So it's like,
yeah.
well, good luck with that. Like, it's kind of understandable if you're not gonna, if there's a round not to qualify from against two former world champions is pretty good going,
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's tight racing always, and you always, yeah, in the end, when it's just a few seconds that you miss the qualification, or you see, oh, just a few milliseconds quicker, and I'd be in another heat. But that's Eliminator racing. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes not so much, but it's part of the sport, I guess.
Yeah, and obviously this weekend, the reason why we're chatting is it's the World Championships. It's in your home country. I don't know how close it is to you. I assume I couldn't even tell you which Bundesland it's in. I'm gonna guess Baden-Württemberg.
Yes.
It usually seems to be with anything.
Yeah,
So
it's about 2 hours with the car, so not too far away, but also not really close.
I mean, it depends who you're talking to. If you told that to an American, they'd be like,
Yeah.
"It's like on my doorstep, 2 hours." But like, to me as a Brit and a fellow European, yes, 2 hours it's enough to, you do it in a day, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a long day if you try to do it all, to go there and back. So, yeah, how are you feeling about it? Before we get into some of the finer details.
Yeah, pretty excited. I can't describe it any other way. It's a home world championship. I'm really fortunate to experience something like that. I think as an athlete, it's a dream to have a world championship on home soil, and I'm quite sure that it's gonna be a thing that I will experience once in my life. So I'm really looking forward to being there and racing and doing my best.
Awesome. Do you have any ambitions? Like, where is your head at, or like, what are your goals for the weekend? Yeah, in general.
Yeah, so, well, Eliminator, it's tight racing. Setting myself a goal with a result doesn't really work for me, especially this season. So, yeah, my goal is just, as I said, I stepped it up race by race. I want to, yeah, climb on the next step and push my performance to the next level. Yeah, I think Aalen is a very technical track. So I really want to ride a clean lap, especially during the time trial. I want to do a clean lap, no mistakes, and push, push, push to the finish line.
Yeah, because like Ireland's just this weird course. It's kind of like it is mountain bike eliminator, but it's as close as it will ever get to Mario Kart, basically. Like
Yeah.
because it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna start at the top of an escalator in the middle of a shopping mall, and then you're gonna have to ride through some lorries, not even over or around, no, through the lorries, and then jump over a car.
Yeah.
If there's like a blue tortoise shell at any point, don't be surprised because it really could happen. But yeah, you said it's technical. Like, what are the features to look out for? I mean, I've mentioned a couple of them, but yeah, what are you looking out for as a rider?
Well, I think when you have so many obstacles like we have in Aalen, it's important to find a good line, practice it a lot, and then doing it clean without a mistake. And especially in Aalen with the choices we have with the A and B line, it's important to also look at the B line and see if maybe the B line sometimes is a bit quicker. In the end, it's always about the situation in the race itself. So during the time trial, you can do your lap and how you want to do it, but in the race itself, you often have to be flexible with your choices. So it's always good to look at all of the possible lines. It's definitely unique in Aalen with so many obstacles, and so many different situations. So you really need to be concentrated and focused.
Yeah, and just to explain that for people at home who maybe aren't familiar, like in mountain biking, there's usually an A line and a B line on certain sections of a course, where the A line is like supposed to be the quickest. We saw in Montmartre that actually people were taking the B line and being just about as quick, and there was a couple of photo finishes in the men's race where someone took the A and someone took the B, and they arrived at the finish exactly the same. But it can be useful where the B line is traditionally slower, but traditionally safer and slightly less technically demanding. And, I've seen it on XCO, like Mountain Bike Olympic races, where the B line's used basically because there's so many people on the A line and you use it to get around them. Obviously, in heats of 4, you're probably not going to encounter that too much, but there is the safety aspect. We saw last year Marion Fromberger, she took the B line a lot in the earlier rounds just because she was secure in her sort of speed that she knew she could qualify whichever line she took. So she took a safer option because Aalen is, you're jumping over cars. There are, dangerous elements that, some people don't think about. Let's talk about, shall we talk about the women's first, just because it's one you'll obviously be more familiar with, you're kind of involved with, obviously. Who should people at home be looking out for in terms of the favourites, people who've got a chance to win, maybe some of the wild card riders who, like, if you told me they won, I'd be surprised, but it's believable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So in the women's category, I mean, of course, when you talk about the women, you need to talk about Gaia Tomena. She's just out there dancing with her bike. She's one of a kind, so you definitely need to look out for her. And I think we then have a couple of girls that can make it to the podium. So it's difficult to choose who can do it. Of course, as a German having a home world championship, I'm rooting for Marion and hope that she can do a good result. But also with Lia Schrivers, she has been German champion before. She won in Aalen last year, the World Cup. So I think we definitely also need to look out for her. I guess it's going to be an exciting race because we have a lot of women starting that haven't been at the start line at all of the World Cups. So, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of unknown quantities. I can't actually remember who the former world champions are, but I want to say that Lena Migdam might be one. Is she not? Oh no.
No.
But she's incredibly strong.
Yeah.
The two French women, Colleen Clousier and
Madison.
Madison
Yeah.
Boissier, they're both incredibly strong. Didi de Vries has won World Cups and is always strong on her day. It's stacked, basically.
Yes.
And that's just, we've only mentioned Europeans. There's also
Iara
Lena
from
Matos.
Brazil. I think for Iara we also have to watch out. But as you mentioned, I think it's gonna be a course that suits Lena from Denmark probably quite well. She's just very technically skilled, and she got the power for a long sprint like we have in Aalen. So she's still very young, but really talented. So it's really difficult to predict, to be honest. There are just so many strong girls out there. Yeah, and speaking of wildcards, in Germany we have Jana Lohmann. She just became vice German champion, and she was Emma's pick for the wildcard. And I think we definitely need to be watching out for her as well. She's really, really fast, and it will be interesting to see how she can do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of Germans then on the start line.
Yeah.
Hopefully, 'cause I swear there's one year, or Barcelona Worlds, where the three Dutchies who'd qualified were all in the same heat. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
don't get that with the Germans. And it's like, well, I mean, you're
Hopefully
guaranteed
not.
two to get through to the small final, but equally, or at minimum, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but equally, it'd be great if all four of you could have qualified and got further in.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the men's field, which is, yeah, I'll be honest, you might as well put all the names in a hat and just pick one because,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just such a wide, varied, stacked field. If
Yeah.
I'm honest,
And this year at the World Cup, we saw the overall leaders jersey,
mm.
switch from person to person. And every World Cup, there was someone else on the top spot. So in the men's category, it will be really, really tight racing. And I think personally, it's unpredictable who is going to win.
In which case, I'm gonna say some names, and then if you tell me like what you know about them, what what characteristics they have, like you said with Lena being super strong on technical types of courses, because I assume you tend to watch more of a men's if you're racing yourself. Like you've raced with the women, and then you're like, oh, I don't need to focus on the race at this point. I can just watch the men's. Um, so you maybe have a different view, but also a kind of insider's view. Um, but yeah, so there's Titouan Payet, current world champion.
He's got the experience, he got the knowledge. He's really good in focusing on one goal and preparing for that. So, yeah, he's definitely one of the big favorites with his experience.
And then his German teammate, well, I think there's probably more than one German teammate, but Mr. Mustache from the Eliminator world, Simon Gegenheimer.
Yeah, I would say kind of the same. He got so much experience and so much knowledge about racing, and you can definitely see it when it comes to tactics because they know and they feel it really well. So, and it's in his hometown. He knows the streets better than anyone, I think. And racing on home soil is always a special feeling, which gives you some extra power. And racing in your hometown definitely will make him push his limits as much as possible.
Yeah. Then Edvin Lind, he's a Swedish rider. He's qualified top of a lot of World Cups or been so close to the very top in terms of seeding every week.
Yeah, he got the power. He's a really, really strong rider. So I hope that he can do a clean run and show what he's capable of because, yeah, he would really deserve it.
Two more then for you. Partly because I've just chatted with him. So Lockie Brown, the New Zealander.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see because he hasn't done that many World Cups, so it's kind of difficult to predict because I haven't seen him that much yet. But with his win in Palancaraya, he definitely showed that he is really powerful. And he's also very technically skilled. So I think the track in Aalen might be one for him with his technical skills and jumping over the car might be a good fit for him.
Yeah, he actually, just because, again, I've just chatted to him, so I've done some of the research. Like, he's got a background in BMXing, so
Oh
he's done
wow.
that for 11 years. That's all about explosive power from the gate and just being able to get up to speed. And then if you falter, getting quickly back up to speed. Um, Final name for you. I forgot who it was going to be at first, so I'm going to pick a different name because I've forgotten. Eddie Molnar, is he still European Championship
Yeah,
champion?
yeah. He definitely showed last year with his win at European Champs that he is one of the top riders, and he got the win in Paris. So yeah, he's also one of the favorites. I don't know what to say. It's always the same. Yeah, there are just so many men that are one of the favorites. So I think he's definitely also, yeah, you need to watch out for him. I definitely see him in the final. So gonna be a really interesting race. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and neither can I. And thankfully, due to the modern wonder of technology and YouTube, we'll all be able to watch it at home if we're not able to make it to Aalen ourselves. There will be a link to the YouTube channel, I guess, or the where the video is being hosted, in the description of this chat. All that's left for me to say is thank you so much for guiding us through, chatting us through your season so far. And yeah, I wish you all the best as always, and I hope you have good legs on Saturday.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So there we go. That was a fantastic chat that we had with Hannah. I think she's given me great insight into what's going to happen at the weekend, and we just have to watch and see how it all unfolds. But Eliminator is hugely exciting, hugely unpredictable, and I can't wait to see it really. Until next time.